Alright, in this video, we're going to talk about a system of inequalities. Alright, we've been dealing with systems of equations, which is going to have equal signs right here. But now what we have are inequality signs. Now before, we've been able to use substitution or elimination as algebraic methods to solve that. And even sometimes if it's just a two-variable system, we can even solve those graphically, right, where we're looking for the intersection. So systems of inequalities, those are all going to be done graphically. So right here, when we have the inequality signs, we know I'm going to need a graph to show what my answer is. All right. So to be able to graph this first function, I need to first get y by itself. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add the 2x to both sides. And then I'm going to subtract the 1 from both sides. And then I'm going to get a 0, 0 here. So now I have y is less than 2x. And then I'm going to put the plus 3 and the minus 1 together to get plus 2. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to get the y by itself here. It's a little simpler with this one. I'm going to add x to each side. So this equation is y is greater than or equal to x plus 1. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the last one. Get this y by itself. To do that, I'm going to go minus 2x to both sides. That's a 0. And I'm going to get y is less than minus 2x plus 3. Now, I've done them all in different colors, so that way when we graph them, you can see which line belongs to what. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those three functions and graph them. So here, I'm going to start with this part. I got plus 2, so I know I'm going to start at plus 2 here. Then I'm going to use my 2 as my slope, and I'm going to go up 2 over 1. I'm going to do the same thing all the way through so I can get a nice graph. Now, something else to look at here is this right here is just a less than sign. It's not like the second one where we have it or equal to. So when all I have is a less than sign, I'm going to connect my dots with a dotted line, a dashed line, because I don't want to include the points on that line. Then it tells me that the y is smaller than my line. So now I'm going to shade below my line. So I'm just going to carefully shade here all the way through that area. So now any point that's underneath that line or in that shaded area is going to work for that function there. Okay, now I'm going to go through and graph my green one. So now I've got x plus 1, so I'm going to go up to 1, and then I'm going to go slope up 1 over 1. And I'm going to do it the same way going the other way. And now because this one is the or equal to, I'm going to make that a solid line. Now if I look at this, this says y is bigger than that green line. So now I'm going to shade above that area. So now I'm going to shade this part here above the line. Okay. Now if you'll notice, I have an area that's a little bit of an overlap, which is right here. So this area is overlap. So this little slice, this little piece here, any points that are inside that shaded area will work for both of these at this point. All right. And now I have to do my last one here. And I'm going to see I have plus 3. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, put my point in there. And now I have a negative 2. So now I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And I'm going to see I have a dotted line because it's just less than. So now I get my dotted line here like this. And then finally, I'm going to say, okay, that y is smaller, so I'm going to shade below. So I'm going to shade below that line. And I've got it just like this. Now, it's kind of hard to tell, but the overlap that you have is going to be this small little triangle right in here. So now, any points that are inside of that little triangle would satisfy the equation for all three of those. So any answers that we have would be inside of that overlapped area. Okay? All right, now what I want you to do is go down to this one. I want you to try this on your own, and we'll come back and we'll check it together. All right, now that you had a chance to try it on your own, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take both of these, and we're going to try to graph them. And to do that, I have to get the y by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add x to each side. That becomes a 0. And now I've got y is bigger than or equal to x squared minus 1. And on the next one, I have add 2x, that's a 0. and I have y is less than 2x plus 2. So now I'm going to graph the x squared minus 1. Now my normal parabola goes something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift that whole thing down 1. So I'm going to go down 1 to start instead of the origin. And I'm going to go over 1. 1 squared is 1, so I'm going to go up 1. I'm going to go over 2 and up 4 because 2 squared is 4. I'm going to do the same thing going to the left side. Okay? So now I have a or equal to, so I'm going to have a solid line connecting all of my dots. So there's my parabola. Now, the next thing I got to do is look at, okay, so my y is bigger, so I'm going to shade above my line, right? So I'm going to shade above this parabola, right, where my y's are bigger. Next, I'm going to go graph this line here. So I got plus 2 is where I'm going to start for my intercept, and then I have 2 over 1 is my slope. So I go plus 2, and then I got up 2 over 1, and then I'm going to do the same thing going the other way. Now this one says less than with no equal to, so I'm going to use a dotted line to connect my points. And then I'm also going to notice that my y is smaller, so I'm going to shade down. So if I shade below my red line, I get this here. And now I see the overlapping area is right in here. So I've got this little shape here that is going to be my solution. So any point, any coordinate that is inside of this shape is a solution. Now, something else to think about. Can I have a solution that's directly on that line? And the answer is no, because it's a dotted line. Can I have a solution that is exactly on the parabola side of that shape? Yes, because that's a solid line. Okay, so pay close attention to your points, if whether or not you're on the solid dotted line or whether you're on that solid line, because that is going to play a difference. And then all of the areas in the middle would also be considered a solution. Okay, quick recap on how to solve a system of inequalities. First thing you're going to want to do is graph all of the inequalities you have. So that might include solving for y to make graphing a little easier. Then, according to whether y is bigger or smaller, you're either going to shade above the line you graphed or below the line you graphed. And then we're looking for overlapping areas, and that will be the solution or set of solutions for my inequalities. All right, hope this video helped, and we'll see you in the next one.